Today, we're going to unpack a really powerful and honestly pretty chilling philosophical dialogue. It's this conversation between two cosmic beings that makes you question everything: the nature of your own self, what suffering really means, and the terrifying appeal of just nothingness. And it all kicks off with one single ominous line.
And that's it. That's the opening shot from a character we know as the Sapphire Jester. With just that one sentence, he sets this mythic, almost fairy tale-like tone right before he completely dismantles what it even means to be a person. All right, so let's meet the two characters in this little drama. You've got the Striver, who is completely defeated, and then you have the Sapphire Jester, who seems to be the one who caused all his suffering. What we're witnessing here is a moment of total, absolute, existential surrender. I mean, the scene is just bleak. The Striver's spirit is described as a liquid slurry of doubt. Think about that image. He's kneeling, totally broken, in front of this imposing Sapphire Jester. This is not a conversation between equals. This is a final, terrible judgment being passed down. And you can see how they are complete opposites. The Striver represents everything we think of as individuality, right? Jagged edges, personality, character. But in this story, those are the very things causing his agony. And then you have the Jester. He represents the exact opposite, this smooth, featureless state of being, where having no self means having no pain.
So, to really get what the Jester is saying, to understand his terrifying philosophy, we have to look closer at the central metaphor he uses, this parable of the faceted stone.
And right here, this is the core of the Jester's whole argument. He takes these concepts we all value, personality, character, and he completely flips them. He says they're not virtues. Nope, they're just sources of friction and suffering. It's a total inversion of how we think about our own identities. So in the Jester's little story, all the things that make you, your loves, your shames, your unique memories, he labels all of that as sharp, painful edges. These facets, he says, are what you call character. So what happens when all those sharp edges have to exist in the world, bumping up against this uncaring wind? Well, it creates friction, a constant, high-pitched scream. And the Jester says that scream, that constant agony that comes from being a unique individual, that's what the stone is mistaken to call its personality. So the takeaway here is, well, it's just brutal. From the Jester's point of view, having a unique self isn't some gift, it's a curse. It means your entire existence is a state of perpetual screaming agony. Individuality isn't a feature, it's a flaw, an error in the geometry of the void. And here's the kicker. The Striver himself confirms it. This isn't just some abstract philosophical theory for him. He is living it. His self, his collection of unique facets and edges, has become an unbearable source of pain. The very light that was supposed to make his facets sparkle now just burns. Okay, so if having a self is the root of all suffering, what's the alternative? This is where the Jester proposes his chilling solution, a philosophy he calls the will to absence. The Jester's ideal is to become like him, a smooth sapphire. And just think about what that really means. It means being ground down, polished away until there are no edges left for the wind of the world to catch on. To be so completely featureless that light isn't even reflected anymore. It's just absorbed, consumed into nothingness. It is the ultimate peace, but only through the ultimate emptiness. This really frames the central conflict for us. It's a direct flip of Nietzsche's will to power, that drive to grow and expand and become more. The Striver lived his life by that will. But the Jester offers its polar opposite, the will to absence. It's the desire to unbecome, to completely erase the self, and trade a painful identity for a peaceful, empty void. But what does it actually take to get to this state of perfect, smooth nothingness? Well, this is where the dialogue takes a turn and gets truly horrifying. Because this isn't some gentle, meditative process. It is a violent, systematic erasure. And this is it. This is the moment of complete and total surrender. The Striver's pain has become so absolute that he is now begging for the process to begin. He doesn't just want his edges smoothed over. He says he doesn't want to be a stone at all anymore. He is literally pleading for his own annihilation. And the Jester lays out the process with this chilling, almost mechanical precision. First, he'll pinch the static of the soul, Then, he'll actually use the friction of the self as fuel for his own fire. Next, he'll melt all your memories down into a uniform, empty glass. And finally, he'll erase what he calls the bug of thought itself. It is the complete, step-by-step dismantling of a person. So, what's left after this whole process is complete? What does the striver actually become when he's no longer the striver? The final outcome is, for my money, the most chilling part of this entire exchange. To put it plainly, the individual is just dead. The striver is gone. And in his place is what the Jester calls an exquisite bauble, a beautiful, polished, but utterly empty object. He's been transformed from a thinking, feeling being into just a pretty decoration. And there it is, the final devastating line. The striver hasn't just been erased, he's been assimilated. He's become a single, indistinguishable piece in the Jester's grand project, a meticulously engineered oblivion. He traded the agony of being himself for the perfect emptiness of being just another brick in the wall. And this leaves us with this huge, haunting question, right? The Jester offers a way out of the pain of having an identity, but the price is identity itself. So, is a life completely free from suffering worth it if it means becoming an empty, polished sphere? Is a self without all its jagged edges even a self at all?